The Ravens getting it done after starting 0-2 with the near miss in Kansas City, the ugly loss at home to the Raiders where they blew another fourth-quarter lead. They go to Dallas, try to blow another fourth-quarter lead, emerge with the win, and then they left no doubt. And I'm always curious when a narrative takes root, the players on the field on both sides feel it.
Yeah.
And they sense it. Here it comes. Here it comes. And it never really did for the Ravens last night. Credit to them. They kept the foot on the throats of the team that had been the best team in football, now not.
Right.
That 35-10, you can't lose like that and be regarded an elite team.
Yeah, it's a statement. It's a statement by Baltimore, who we know has the potential and a lot of the pieces to be the elite team you're talking about. I think even more so than the Buffalo Bills, who I think we still have questions about the whole team. We know the quarterback's awesome and all of that. But, yes, they're still, I think, their questions and things we need to unpack a little bit. But when you come to the Ravens, too, Mike, I mean, you talked about it. It's the third quarter got a little bit shaky. They came out, again, in pass mode. And you were like, what? You just ran the ball down the throats of the Buffalo Bills the whole first half. Why do that? But then they make the play on the strip sack fumble with Josh Allen, and that kind of was like, all right, see you later. You're done for the night. But ultimately, Baltimore, 2 weeks in a row. I know we talked about this last week a little bit on Monday. Hey, you got to be great at something. And 2 weeks in a row, we've seen them go, we got big linemen, we got the greatest running quarterback in football, and we're going to come right at you. And we're going to make you defend that. And then we'll go from there. And I think that's what I love more than anything about the Ravens is they're playing to their strengths of their football team. And all the big plays and 300-yard passing games, they're going to come if they continue to do this because now it's 2 weeks in a row of bludgeoning people, and teams are going to start to go, next week they got the Cincinnati Bengals, I believe. And they're going to pack the box being worried about it, and it's going to make Lamar in the pass game look good.
And does it matter when Derrick Henry is still Derrick Henry? There was this concern. He's 30. You never know when the wheels are going to come off for a running back. The wheels are spinning fine as we see on this play where he goes 87, one cut and gone. It helps to have a hole where you don't even have to twist your shoulders to fit through it.
Yeah.
But this is the classic Derrick Henry. If you let him get the first 2 or 3 steps, he is gone. And they did not. I mean, Damar Hamlin was trying his damnedest to close ground on him, and he did a little bit, but he wasn't going to catch him.
No.
Derrick Henry is still Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
And it goes back to last week, poor Jerry Jones. In the aftermath of losing to the Ravens and having Derrick Henry gain 151, not 199 like he did last night, Jerry's like, we couldn't afford him. Then he get asked about it later in the week, and he cut off the question, but then it became clear as he meandered his way through the word salad.
Yep.
Yeah, this is just the latest example of you're going to have regrets from time to time.
Right.
Because he mentioned Randy Moss.
Right.
How they missed on Randy Moss.
Right.
They missed on Derrick Henry. A lot of teams missed on Derrick Henry. Anybody could have had Derrick Henry. $5.1 million cap number this year. Any team could have had Derrick Henry. The Giants could have backfilled Saquon Barkley with Derrick Henry if they wanted to.
Right. Steal of steals, right? I mean, steal of steals, credit to them to do their research and go, hey, he's still got gas left in the tank like you're talking about here. This is not some guy that's, going to come here and kind of just fall off planet Earth and not be the same that way. Good for the Baltimore Ravens to play to what they are again, to being this big, physical, powerful football team. That's what they're built to be. That's what was crazy about the first game of the year this year when they just dropped back against Kansas City and Lamar was throwing the ball and everything there. Or late in the year last year, the playoff game against Kansas City especially. But can we show that replay of the touchdown again? They have a creative run game. They give you headaches, let alone the Lamar Jackson running factor off of the run game. And that's where it's their greatest schematical advantage they have and their greatest physical advantage. And when I look at the back end of this play, and maybe you guys could slow it down. Look, I mean, again, they trapped the guard there with Ricard. Like, cool little concept to start the football game. They open up the big hole like you talk about. But one, it's taking advantage of your strengths, Mike. And the other thing is, and this we've hit on this, Buffalo's not real big. They have 2 linebackers that are 25 pounds less than Derrick Henry. Their defensive tackle, one of them's 285. So what I'm saying again is I'm proud of Baltimore for 2 weeks in a row coming out saying, no, this is what we are. Forget the Lamar contract and all that. All that stuff will happen. We're going to do this and win football games.
That play encapsulates the one line that I always hear when we go to the scouting combine in Indianapolis in February about the 40-yard dash. You only ever run 40 yards in a straight line when something really good is happening or when something really bad is happening. And it's usually both at the same time. Because it was pretty damn good for Derrick Henry. And you saw
and DeMar Hamlin's like, this isn't that good.
This is not good. This is not good. And it was not good for the Buffalo Bills last night. But if they can keep doing this, and there's no guarantee. You can't be one-dimensional because when they take away the one thing that you're so good at, you got to be able to pivot to something else. That's going to be the challenge. If and when they stuff Derrick Henry, and we know it'll happen at some point. He's not going to have 200 yards every game or close to it. He would have had 200 last night, but for the fumble near the goal line that was recovered by Ricard in the end zone. But you got to be able to pivot to something else. And I think they can.
I do too. I'm with you.
They just need to be ready to
be ready for it when it happens. Right. Keep playing this style. Right? You keep doing this, and they're going to get to the point, Mike, where, hey, a team like Cincinnati who has a bad defense, it's a horrible run defense, they're going to have to play some defenses next week, and this is what will happen with Baltimore, is that teams will play such aggressive run-stopping defense that it's going to be like, oh, my gosh, now we have to start calling the passes. We got optimal looks for Lamar and Zay Flowers and Rashad Bateman, and I think, to your point, we know Lamar has made incredible progress as a passer, and he can dice you up that way. And I think these receivers are damn good too, and you couple the tight ends in with it. When that comes time for, hey, wait, this team's slowing down our run game, we got to rely on the pass game, I think they got the group and the quarterback to do that. There's no doubt about it. But stay with this run game. That's the most important thing.
Let's hear from Derrick Henry on the 87-yard.
Well, let's watch the highlights. Hold on. Let's watch. These are good.
The highlights started. Fine. I was getting ready to transition to before we started talking about
but
what
he's
Lamar
answering
Jackson
your
can
question.
Do with the air.
He's going,
he can do it when he needs
Florio,
to or when
I
he
can
wants
throw
to.
it. Yes.
It's easier to do it when you got Derrick Henry. There was that one play that I thought was so beautiful where he does the quick fake pass and then hand it off to Justice Hill, who just shot right up the middle. Like you freeze everybody thinking it's going to be a quick screen, and then boom, you just run it up the middle. When you have defenses on their heels.
They had them on the heels.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's the key.
They give you a lot of different looks and things to worry about, run game and pass game, and that's what you want to do.
The goal, I think, on either side of the ball, we see it in Minnesota, and we'll talk about that game later in the show, their defense and their offense.
Yeah.
If the opponents are constantly wondering what the hell is going on, it becomes so much harder to counter it. Because instead of just doing what you do, you've got that moment of hesitation where you're trying to diagnose what the hell they're doing.
Yeah, sure.
And while you're trying to diagnose it, the next thing you know, Derrick Henry is running 40 yards the good kind. And you're running 40 yards the bad kind, trying to catch him. That's the problem. And, because the game, physically, everybody is relatively equal. There are some freaks in a good way, as you used to say, that stand out. But, figuring out what you're doing. And the more you can mix it up, the harder it is for the opponents to figure out what's happening in real time.
Exactly.
As they're trying to catch you or impose their will on you.
Right.
Here's Derrick Henry talking about his 87-yard touchdown run and the Ravens on their rushing attack generally.
Yeah, I felt pretty good about that play all week. Justin and everybody in the room was talking about how that play has always been successful since, they've been here. It's always been an explosive. So I was anticipating it, but I'm glad that they did a great job. O-line receivers did a great job, tight end blocking, and I just had to make one cut and get to the end zone.
Man, Derrick Henry, he opens up the play action game. Guys running to the ball, trying to stop him from getting started in the backfield. And our offensive line just did a great job of giving Derrick lanes. Receivers did a great job as well, blocking down the field and letting Derrick do his things. Shout out to the tight ends as well.
I mean, that's kind of always been what we've been about. I think if you look back in the history of the organization, even before, running the ball and playing great defense, and then we have weapons. We're blessed with weapons. I mean, one of them just walked in here right now, best weapon in football right there, and everybody rallies around him and he distributes to everybody else. So that's where it starts. But the run game, yes, the run game is massively important to us.
Well, and having Henry and featuring Henry swings the pendulum back in the direction where Hollywood Brown wants out. Remember that? Hollywood Brown wanted out.
Right.
the receivers last night, Rashad Bateman, 1 target, 1 catch for 23 yards.
Yeah, right.
Nelson Aguilar, 3
Yeah.
targets, 2 catches for 10 yards. Zay
Right.
Flowers, 2 targets, 1 catch, 10 yards. Mark Andrews was targeted once with no catches. Isaiah Likely, 2 targets, 1 catch for 26 yards. The other passes went to running backs,
Yeah.
Justice Hill and Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
So when it gets out of whack like that, yes, you're winning,
Right.
but when it gets out of whack, you've got some guys who want to have the football in their hands.
No
You're gonna
doubt.
be like, what the hell's going on here?
No doubt. No, you're right about that. And again, I think the more they do this right here and show that they're elite at this, it's going to make teams have to overplay it, and it's right around the corner. That's what I would say to Ravens fans: is just calm down. The big passing plays, Zay Flowers, bombs, all of that's going to work. But also, Mike, too, if they're going to play this way, they need to start putting Zay Flowers and Rashad Bateman a part of the run game a little bit.
Yeah.
The reverses, a few screens off the fake runs or whatever else, the RPO screens that we know are so popular in football, and I think they got to find ways to do that too. They did that in Dallas a little bit, but still, hopefully those guys can be patient. I know Zay Flowers and Bateman are good guys to where they're team guys. Yeah, I don't know how long they'll like these stat lines, but I think winning certainly will delay it, and then I do think the big plays will come. But yeah, impressive by Baltimore. 2 weeks in a row where, yes, it was 2 ugly losses, and I know that they let Dallas come back, but at their best, when they're playing really good, man, Baltimore does look like one of the better teams in football when you put it all together, and they seem like they're going on an upward trajectory right now.
You mentioned they have the Bengals next week. The week after that, the Commanders make the quick trip over, which that game all of a sudden looks like it's really compelling. I want to deviate just for a second,
Okay.
but it is connected.
Okay.
I want to give you 2 coaching resumes very briefly
Okay.
as the start of a
Ooh, I like
unexpected, unplanned conversation.
Okay, I like this. Yeah, don't let me say it.
One coach has a career record of 174 and 111 and a postseason record of 12-10 with a Super Bowl win.
Right.
The other coach has a career record of 180, 115 and 2, 11-11 in the postseason with a Super Bowl win.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
One is on the hot seat right now.
Okay.
The other one is never on the hot seat.
Right.
Do you know who they are?
Well, I'm guessing one's Doug Peterson and one's no.
One's John Harbaugh.
Right.
And the other one's Mike McCarthy.
Okay. Yes.
And I had someone call me this week
Right.
who's disconnected from either
Right.
team and say, and this is where I want to be careful because this wasn't my idea, John. I got a long day today. If you want to call and yell at me, that's fine. This wasn't my thought.
What?
But the question was, why is McCarthy on the hot seat and why is Harbaugh never even mentioned as being on the hot seat?
Right.
And a win like last night goes a long way toward avoiding that.
Yeah.
But, Super Bowl champion, deep into the rearview mirror.
Yeah.
McCarthy 2010.
Right.
Harbaugh 2012.
Right.
And just this general sense of
I get you.
underachievement.
Right.
Why aren't they, and it's just, and maybe it's just as simple as the Cowboys are the focus of everyone's attention and the Ravens aren't. And I've been asked the question about Harbaugh in the past. It's like, well, after they won the Super Bowl, they had to deal with the back end of the Patriots dynasty and the front end of the Chiefs dynasty.
Right.
What the hell are you supposed to do? What are you supposed to do?
I think it's a valid point.
But anyway, let
alone one guy had, without question, one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time and only won one. I think that's what hurts him a little bit in that whole conversation. And then how some of the games ended and how they lost them, I think also hurt him too. Whether it's the 49ers stupid Ezekiel Elliott snapping the ball or the spike the ball and they missed the field goal to tie it and all that stuff.
Or
right?
being blown off the field. Although, the Ravens got blown off the field as the 1 seed by the Titans.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you there. I know, but there is a different feel, and you're catching me off guard to maybe where I can't get all my ducks in a row.
And I'm sorry I did that. I wasn't going to do it. It would have fit better if they had lost.
Right.
But still, it's a fair question because they're roughly the same guy,
I
record-wise, accomplishment-wise. But there is a different sense to it.
There's a different sense, and I feel here's another thing too is I feel like when the regular season, and I know that Harbaugh might not have the postseason record we would like him to have, but there's also less regular season blunders, I guess I would say, throughout his career,
right?
Where you feel like they beat the teams they were supposed to beat. And Dallas, under Mike McCarthy, they had some games sometimes where you were like, what? They lost to them? They lost that way? How did they do that? And I think that adds to it too.
Well, and you throw in that 2014 NFC Championship which was inexcusable the way the Packers blew that one in
No
Seattle.
question. No question.
Harbaugh doesn't have that on his resume.
Right.
And I think the fact that the constant Shakespearean drama with Aaron Rodgers and how hard is he working?
Yeah.
Is he really doing everything he can? McCarthy, I'm saying,
I got you.
to get the most out of the team.
Right.
Harbaugh's never had that. He's never had that relationship with the quarterback where he's got to worry about the quarterback being passive-aggressive or assive-aggressive.
That's
as
our
the
new
case
word.
may be. We coined that on Thursday.
Right.
And I just think generally Harbaugh seems, all due respect to Mike McCarthy, he just seems more like he's got his shit together.
Yeah, I hear you there.
Just every way he carries himself, he conducts himself,
Yeah.
the confidence he expresses when he speaks. There's a difference between the guys that way. I just thought it was an interesting question, and I reacted the same way you did when the guy called me last week and raised it. I was like, Abba,
right.
because I'm thinking,
Right.
wait, there's two completely different guys. Why are we
Sure.
even having this conversation?
Sure.
Oh, crap, look at the similarities in their achievements. The numbers that don't lie are very, very similar.
No, that they've been physically dominant, right? Play with an attitude that I think mirrors their coach in Harbaugh that we all respect. That helps them. And then I think the other aspect of this is he has taken the route, whether he liked it or not. I mean, really probably forced on him to a degree through the draft. They went to an offense that is kind of unknown and unseen, and they're the first to really do it in the NFL. And just go, wait, we're going to get a running quarterback, and we're going to make it about the run, and we're going to run with him, and we're going to run with our stable of running backs, and you're not going to know where it's going to hit you, but it's going to be more running and doing that. And I think, too, because they are kind of at the front of the line as far as going all in that area and that type of offense, I think that's probably, bought him a little favor as well, I think, maybe with the NFL media and the fan base.
And again, that was just kind of an impulse I got this morning. I thought it was a good time to have the conversation since I only have you once a week.
Right.
Let's have the conversation now.
Right.
Because if not, we won't have it until whenever I get you back 3 days a week. And by then, Mike McCarthy might be fired. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.